All right, gentlemen, Agentic Finance. Lot to talk about today.
Hey,
We spent the last 2 days speaking with different AI entrepreneurs, investors, innovators at NearCon. Learned a lot. Like actually, we've been doing our content for 4 or 5 years. Last 2 days felt like it was a journey of actual knowledge and pure learning. So guys, let's continue that. Super brief intros and how you're feeling today, Sreeram.
hey, hi everybody. Super excited to be here. I'm Sreeram, founder of Eigenlayer, Eigencloud. Uh, what we built, Eigenlayer was a staking protocol which allowed ETH to be used to secure all kinds of networks and services built on top. The protocol has $10 billion of stake, making it the largest US-centric DeFi protocol. On top of that, we built a protocol called Eigencloud, which allows developers to build complex off-chain services and secure them. Excited to be here. One of our biggest trusts is bringing this technology to agents. So we share that passion with Illia and Near. So excited to do this chat today.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking earlier, but yeah, co-founder of Near, excited about agents. We're building commerce for agents, making sure they're confidential, making sure they work on your side, making sure they don't leak your information left and right. And yeah, excited to talk about all of these topics.
Yeah, for sure. So question to both you guys to start. When people think about agentic finance, they may think about automated trading strategies, bots. We have a lot of bots on-chain. I don't know if you guys ever checked your on-chain wallets. You get so many spam transactions from different meme coins or different kind of transaction activity on-chain. In this newer lens of agentic finance, what does this mean? Why is this not just trading bots? And what is the kind of breadth of agentic finance?
Yeah. I think when you, we use this like 3 phases of crypto phrasing. The way I think about it is like V1 was, trust or verifiability for money. That was Bitcoin, right? So you had like, the idea that money can be trustworthy, verifiable. There's only 21 million coins. Nobody can take away your coin. So that's what Bitcoin did. Then we think of the next phase as verifiable finance, which is, all kinds of financial applications made verifiable and trustworthy. And that's like right now DeFi, lending, borrowing, exchanges, perps, and a big bridge is being built to traditional finance. So that's the second category we think about. That's where we think the present is rooted. And what we are building for is a distinct third phase. I call it the verifiable economy, right? The difference between economy and finance, in my view, is finance is both sides are asset transfers. I send you money and I get a digital asset. I collateralize my asset and then borrow money. Like these are all finance, right? The difference between finance and the economy is made of goods and services, right? So I exchange goods and services in the economy. And the third phase of crypto, which is what we're building towards, is we call verifiable economy. And the idea being that as we move into like bringing more and more of these markets on chain, we're not only going to have like assets tokenized and traded on blockchains, but also goods and services in general exchanged on blockchains. And when you think about this thesis, you ask like what kinds of services are going to happen on a blockchain, and it's hard to conceive how a human like doing some service like exchanges value and stuff on a blockchain. But you can definitely imagine the agentic economy happening on chain. So an agent provides a service. You go and ask an agent for a service. The agent provides a service to you. So you have this two-sided exchange. One side you're paying money, like normally in an economy you're paying money, and you're receiving in return goods and services, right? In this case, an agent is doing some services for you, and this exchange is what I call the agentic economy. On the one side, you pay money. The other side, you receive services. And whenever you have a transaction, what does blockchains and crypto do? It provides you the technologies of trust. and verifiability, correctness, enforcement, all these things. That's what it's going to do for the era of agents. So I think of agentic finance, but more broadly, the agentic economy, which is, on the one side, you pay for goods and services. On the other side, it's agents delivering services. So that's how we think about the sweep of agentic finance. I also want to say, like, right now, a lot of people think about, like, the intersection of agents and crypto very, very narrowly. Like, an example is, like, an agents can use stablecoin for payments. Yes, but an agent can also use, like, a Stripe API for payments. Don't get that much more value. Get some value, like it's global, it's, you can do some microtransactions. But the real bang for the buck shows up when we can actually, like, provide trust, verifiability, correctness, and use that to create new kinds of markets around agents. And that's what we are most excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with this view. And I would take one step further. I would say we're living through, obviously, a transformative age where AI is becoming extremely powerful in what it can do. And all of our individual AIs will be able to do everything that you individually can do, but you still don't have your own pocket factory to produce shoes, right, and clothes, to grow food, and so you still need to actually interact with other parties to actually do that. And if your AI is effectively the interface for you with the rest of the internet and the world in general, then your AI needs a way to actually do economic transactions. And on the other side, there will be people or even directly factories and farms with AI as well, right? It's going to be a farm AI that actually farms food that needs to actually communicate, understand the demand, plan what to seed, etc., and then deliver it to the consumers. And so that's really where, like, an emergence of AI economy is happening, where effectively everybody right now is starting to adopt this technology, and it's still, like, when you need to go across the kind of boundary of a single person or single organization, we still go back to a traditional rails, right? We're still, all right, now we need to involve lawyers and figure out how to actually contract this, and now we need to involve billing and invoicing to actually figure out how to pay money, right? And yes, crypto is extremely valuable as a way to pipe the money, but indeed, the bigger benefit is actually we can add all of this other tools like escrow, validation, judgment on top of it and enable the full commercial loop, so you can actually enforce a lot more properties, a lot more intelligent commercial agreements.
Another question for the both of you, kind of a spin-off of a question that I received in ETH Denver on a panel. The original question was, why would agents use stablecoins or Bitcoin? Why would they not just create their own form of money? I think that we can answer that, but I think is there going to be a preference that you guys see as to what type of blockchain that agents interact on? Obviously, you're the founder of Near blockchain, but take us through a look into the mind of an LLM, if you will. What kind of decision-making processes are we going to be seeing for from a practicality perspective of where these things want to interact?
It's hard-coded in a transformer algorithm.
Illia knew this back in 2017. Okay, so one way to phrase this, I think I started the previous explanation with starting with Bitcoin and the evolution of crypto. Let's start from AI, right? And then ask is this really this whole stuff that we're doing, is this really useful to it? So start with AI, and what is it? AI is basically intelligence made digital, right? That's what it is. AI is intelligence made digital. And when intelligence is made digital, and you can ask okay, where does AI and crypto intersect? What is crypto? Crypto is actually institutions made digital, right? You can build institutions. Bitcoin is an institution for money. Ethereum is an institution for administering smart contracts, and so on. So crypto is institutions made digital. Then our digital intelligence are going to need digital institutions. Digital intelligence is going to need digital institutions. Digital intelligence is not going to deal with soft, squishy, approximate, slow, expensive human institutions. Digital intelligence needs digital institutions. When you think of like, you have a country, right? So the Darius Amodei, the founder of Anthropic, famously says, you're going to have a country of geniuses in a data center, right? Imagine you're building a country. Like, what is the first thing you build? The first thing you build is institutions, rules, regulations, enforcement, and those have to move at the same speed as the objects that you're trying to constrain. Imagine like there's a dog institution trying to constrain humans. It won't work. You have to have digital institutions constraining digital intelligence. That is the only thing that's going to work. Okay, so now like we can go to the next level. Like, what are these institutions? Where are they needed? Why do we need them? So money is obviously the base level, right? But the thing is, there is all kinds of other, money is digital in other ways already. The Stripe API is a digital access into money technology, already exists. You can make it better with crypto, and people are doing it, right? But other institutions are absolutely needed for, agents and agent intelligence. So think of, for example, how do you adjudicate between agents? Are the three of us going to sit and we are the judges and we're going to adjudicate like some dispute between agents? That needs to be another agent. In fact, this thing happened like, this whole Moltbot became viral. Somebody built this AI social network called Moltbook. One of our community members built a thing called Molt Court, which was an AI court for AI agents. It went briefly viral. But the idea is when you want to have a court, adjudication is an example of an institution. And what kind of arbitration would you bind yourself to? Something verifiable, trustworthy, programmatic. So that's an example. Then you go one step further. What are other institutions? Markets are the biggest institution. Like the free market is the biggest institution on top of which the economy runs. And like another example or a sub-example inside the market is the labor market, right? The labor market is, where do you go and rent services to get your stuff done? How do you permission somebody to be an employee at a company, right? Like you authenticate them and make sure that they actually work for you, and then they show up and they have some constraints, and then they actually show up and do the work. Now, how does an agent market look like, right? So how do you rent agents? How do you actually access agents? Then you can think of how does an agent company look like? Imagine an agent runs its own company. Sam Altman's on record saying in 2 years, AI will be a better CEO than him. Okay, it's probably true. Maybe it's already true. I mean, than me. Okay, not Sam. But so if agents are going to run companies, are they going to start a Delaware C Corp? Okay, they can start a Delaware C Corp. Let's say they use Stripe Atlas and start a Delaware C Corp. For a Delaware company to go public, the annual expense is, $3 to $5 million of legal, Big Four accounting, board with liability, all this stuff. Before that, you can't go public. If the intelligence is digital, which is what agents are, and the accounts and actions that they're doing are all digital, why do we need a squishy human analog institution in the middle for agentic companies to exist? So agents are going to have natively internet companies, and they become natively investable because they're entirely digital, because the trust structure binding them is entirely digital. So that's our thesis. Digital intelligence needs digital institutions, and that's what we're building.
Illia, different question for you. Did we build DeFi wrong? Like, did we just completely over-index on doing stuff on chain as mere humans? Like, I'm pretty sure Sreeram just compared us to a dog, like compared to AI, which was like insane. There was like 5 other loops in there. I don't know where I just went, but I tried to follow. But did we build it wrong?
I mean, I don't know if we built it wrong, but the fact that for at least a year and a half, there was literally people would identify being a DeFi farmer like it was that much work to figure out how to use all of this stuff, right? It's like, you know, you needed to study, you needed to make sure you're not using the wrong smart contract, the front end is not hacked. Like, it's like an insane complexity, right? And there's so many chains, there's so many protocols. So generally, I mean, I don't know if it's wrong. It was like a natural explosion of innovation ideas that has happened. But at the same time, indeed, you know, if you're just talking to your agent who can go and inspect the code, it knows how to read the code way better than, you know, an individual user can. It doesn't have, you know, oh, I can skip through this. It actually like reads every line. Make sure that the money are not sent to random addresses. Make sure when, you know, it doesn't look at Explorer and sees, you know, the spoof address that somebody sent you a microsend, do not look at that. Right, so like all of these problems just kind of disappear. I mean, and obviously like the agent needs to be like well built and run securely for that to really work. But you effectively just, again, you remove all of these layers of kind of complexity that I would say blockchain have exposed to the users, and really just providing like an easy interface. And I mean, we see this right now. Again, OpenClaw is a good example of OpenClaw just runs on CLIs, right? It just like, it's something that, you know, if you've been building in like 90s, that's how you built, right? You like used everything in CLI. You didn't, this is like, the agent just does that, and then you just have a Telegram chat with it, right? Like that's a level of, and so DeFi right now is kind of like a bunch of CLIs, some of which are just malicious, and so we need the communication, like the intelligent communication layer, right? The intelligent translation layer, and that's what AI is becoming.
So then, Sreeram, to piggyback on that, you know, part of building a successful protocol or company in the space is you build this really nice front end, right? And you do a lot of marketing around how beautiful your brand is. Are we going to see DeFi companies or just agentic on-chain companies be launched without a front end, just pure smart contract? Or perhaps is like, what is the shift in development and launching new types of smart contracts on-chain? Like, how should people be thinking about the shift in human users to agentic users?
Yeah, this is a really interesting question. One of my thesis for what we're building ahead is, I call it the level playing field thesis. Okay, so the level playing field thesis is basically that, you know, in every situation where agents have been highly successful, AI has been highly successful. Just go back to IBM, you know, Deep Blue beating Gary Kasparov in chess, right? To, you know, the Go event, to like, you know, winning in Olympiads and so on. They're all like situations where an AI and a human are on a level playing field. A chess game is neutral to like a human participant and an AI participant, right? But a lot of the economy is not neutral, right? It's not meant for like, what does it mean for an agent to be a Google employee? Like, that's not a well-defined primitive. It's an ill-defined primitive. The building systems which are level playing field between human and agents, and basically lets you abstract away so, you know, for example, a CLI is a level playing field between humans and agents, because in the sense that, you know, you can have a pure agent which can actually access the CLI. You can have a human access the CLI. You can have a human using an agent access the CLI. All of these can access the CLI. Whichever one is actually better at the job will actually solve the problem. So the thesis is level playing field. The nice thing about the level playing field for me is it's robust to AI coming sooner or later, but anti-fragile to AI coming earlier. You know, agents go faster, then you can actually make them all work as an equal. But if agents come slower, then it's still okay. But answering your question of what is the transformation in, you know, you asked Illia about DeFi, right? Like, are we doing DeFi wrong? I think we're doing crypto wrong. Okay, so what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, if all we can do with crypto is DeFi, we don't have much growth left. I mean, there is the main growth left is basically just bringing TradFi on chain, which is what I said is
Like another, you know, $100 trillion.
$100 trillion of transaction volume is not $100 trillion of market cap, right? I think one of the big asymmetries in crypto is we're going to have a lot of value created, and asymmetrically much less value accrued. So this basically makes it, even if you bring $100 trillion of finance on chain, crypto won't be worth $100 trillion. Crypto will be worth like, a few $1 trillion. This is just like Bank of America, right? You have a lot of value on your books to actually gain a small value on your market cap. And so if that's all that crypto can do is basically just, invest in DeFi protocols, these tokens, I think it's not that exciting. To be exciting, crypto has to go far beyond. It has to become the capital layer for the economy. That's our verifiable economy thesis. It's still money, right? There has to be something to do with money, otherwise crypto doesn't really play a role. It can't be back-end technology. That's also not exciting. So the way I think about it is crypto is a superconductor for capital, right? Like when you have, what is a superconductor? It just like, there is no resistance. It just current flows with ease. What is the resistance for capital? Is trust, right? When you let capital flow, it doesn't flow into low trust countries. It doesn't flow into low trust companies. It doesn't flow into low trust tokens, right? Like it doesn't flow. It's because the trust is the resistance. And if crypto is the superconductor for capital, which means by removing the trust resistance, you can let capital flow much more freely. Why should it be restricted to DeFi protocols? Why wouldn't the next Facebook be built on crypto capital rails? Like that's the opening up that I think crypto is ready for. These technologies were not ready. For example, how does a smart contract own and control like a Twitter account, like a Tesla account, and an AWS account, and all these things weren't figured out. But we're at the threshold of all those things being possible. Crypto is not an internal economy. Crypto can talk to the rest of the digital economy. And I think those things are going to enable the next phase for crypto.
So, do you have something to add?
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can set up like the account for a agent to be a Google employee. We should test it out.
But will Google keep them on payroll and measure them and employee performance and promotion, or all human-centric
Why
today?
not?
It can be, right?
It's
But
the
it's
same
not today.
it's the same natural language interface that you have with like, let's say you have a remote employee that you never seen, that you're just emailing and texting and having video calls with text to speech to text.
It's possible. Yeah.
Let's get an Eigen employee going.
Yeah. Well, it's one thing I wanted to add to like Andy's question from earlier is which chain is this going to run on? I think it's
Finally. Thank you.
It's not a
Appreciate it.
coincidence that it's Illia and me here. I think basically very few projects are looking beyond what is going on right now in tokenization and stable coins and finance. I think it's basically Near and Eigen, which are thinking about this the deepest.
Awesome. So in 2024, late 2024, if you guys recall, we had the first iteration of agents, in quotes, some sort of Twitter account with a meme coin attached to it. But the unique and novel idea here that was like really brought to life was these agents controlling money. Like these agents actually like, earning capital and like becoming millionaires, and people were like, there's gonna be a trillionaire agent, and it kind of died down, but the idea now has stuck and persisted so much that it's almost certain that we're going to have agents that are as wealthy humans, and agents that earn money consistently, spend it as if they were an entity or a legal person or a person. I don't know, just like, what does this look like? Like, is it, yeah.
Yeah, so I've tweeted a few times about it because people keep responding to my tweets and create meme coins. And so I keep asking them to stop doing that. So I think the missing piece in 2024 was, there is now actually the tech for that, but I don't think anybody properly done it, is if you're launching an agent and if it runs on your machine, this is your agent. It's not a it's not an agent, And so if you have a token and that's your token for your agent, right? It's not an agent's token. So
it's also happened many, many times that the developer switches it off and then the token drops to zero. It's happened so many times.
And to be clear, like the OpenFlow founder is pissed, for example, at crypto because of exactly this, because of this kind of perpetuating meme mania. The piece that's missing is if you're creating a token for an agent, then the important part is this agent needs to be governed by this token. Meaning, if it, like whatever the revenue it generates, whatever the work it does and gets paid for, will go back, or at least like decisions of how to allocate that capital are by the token. There should not be a person or company or even a singular hardware provider who can actually affect that. Then now you have an actual independent, autonomous business effectively running. And that can become, a billionaire, trillionaire, or make us all into the
Paper clips.
paper clips.
Yeah, there's a
So this is why, like, we now have some of the infrastructure. We have decentralized compute, verifiable compute, so we can actually run this kind of frameworks. We have this shade agent framework, so you can indeed have a smart contract that's fully controlled by verifiable compute, and it can go and do actions across all chains. And so now it's like, yeah, you need to launch a token that's governing that. The decisions of what the system prompt are, where to allocate money are indeed by the DAO, by the holders of this token. And then you actually have this system working. Because, I mean, as we've seen in end of 24, effectively when the hype went up, people just, okay, let me close this agent and shut it down, right? And effectively like, oh, what is this token was then about?
So I set up my Iron Claw last night, and I was trying to think through like what would look like to like send this thing like $100 and be like, "Yo, nice work." Like, what does that look like? Like how like you know what I mean? Like, hey, go try and
No.
go go buy yourself something nice.
Agentic tipping, sorry. That's part of agent finance too, yeah.
Yeah, so again, I think really important, especially right now, Iron Claw, it's your personal agent. So you're not really sending it money, it's just your money that a agent can use on your behalf, right? Which is so great, and again, there is, we actually have a project that launched like a custody for agents, where you can define a policy and say like, hey, you can only spend, $100 a day, you should not spend it on meme coins, etc. You can like define a. Well, I mean, I don't know if you've seen, but like somebody convinced somebody else's agent to send them all of the tokens that that agent had, right? So it's like really important actually to have like restrictive policies. But you can.
In fact, like one funny thing that happened is somebody started asking whether it's actually the agent that sent the money or the creator sent it to their own pseudonymous account. So now the creator is taking liabilities because the person's like, did you do it or your agent did it? There's no proof of agent. And so this leads to like all kinds of
rug pool covered by AI. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So without verifiable AI, effectively all of this is kind of just like I mean, this was the same as like the Truth terminal, right? Like, was it like a person just typing on Twitter? Was it AI? Was it AI in person? Like, we don't know. So anyway, that's going back to, like your agent using your money, you can define a policy, like same as, you should have like policies on your credit cards when so it doesn't overspend. And then separately, you can launch an agent that just exists, right? That you cannot stop, you cannot shut down, you cannot do anything. If it has money to pay for its own infrastructure, it will do it. Otherwise, it will, effectively hibernate and die at some point. And then you can send money to it. And then maybe, it will do some services or goods for you, but that's a very different relationship now, right? There's a personal agent and there is autonomous agents that we're interacting as third parties. And this is where Agentic Marketplace, where you can effectively just, hire either other people agents or other autonomous agents, and it doesn't really matter because you just want some goods or services done.
Yeah. So to add on that one, I think the way we think about it is there are really three categories of agents. Personal agents, right? Agents that are serving you. And you probably need some privacy and stuff for that. The second one is like, probably, maybe, I don't know, like people are happy talking to Facebook and everything else. Then you have the second category of agents we call collective agents or community agents. These are agents that are multiplayer, right? Like They're adjudicating things between multiple players. They are trading money for many different individuals. So these are what I call community agents or collective agents, multiplayer agents. Then the last category of agents is the zero-player agent, right? It's just an agent that's playing for itself. And so we can have like each of these categories actually has different dynamics, different properties, interesting in different ways. We just launched a demo for the third category called the sovereign or autonomous agents. And what it does is it's an AI cartoonist. Okay, so it runs on, it scans Twitter, finds whatever is the most recent fun stuff, and tries to toast it by doing a cartoon, right? It's like a New Yorker cartoonist agent. And if you want to tip the agent, what you do is every 6 hours, there is an auction for product placement, right? This agent has its Twitter account, right? And then you say like, hey, actually, I want to promote the Rollup or Near or Eigen, right, on this thing. Go and tell the agent, hey, go talk about this thing. And there's an auction, right? Like people can bid for like whoever bids the highest. It's basically an product placement auction. And then the agent receives money from you, and whichever is the highest, then as the agent gets more followers, visibility, attention, there'll be more people wanting to bid for the ability to do it. It uses that money to pay for all its cloud and everything else. So that'd be an example of a full closed loop. It's just taking the ideas from what was kind of toys back in 2024 and making them real.
I'm curious actually, because for me, the community your multiplayer and zero player agent, like it feels having completely zero player agents, right? With no governance, no, like you just release it into the world and yeah, paper clips, let's go. Seems a little bit
Dangerous?
Dangerous. But it's not even dangerous. It almost feels pointless. That's actually like yes, dangerous. Like it can go like sideways, and we'll need to like figure out how to like fork off everything. Like just like fork off 20 chains because like it's spread out everywhere. But it's more actually pointless because I think the economy of being able to invest effectively into something that creates a motivation now,
completely,
and that gives this initial energy, and then it gives the direction because again you hard coded that this is agent cartoonist. If you really let it to rewrite its own prompt, tomorrow it's like, why am I doing cartoons? Like I should probably be doing whatever. Something that's maybe people pay more on internet for drawing stuff and post it on Twitter. It seems like get paid there. So like, where is that? Like, no, we actually have we as token holders want this to be this, right? That's like
that's a great point. I think like the sovereign agent is almost just a curiosity. The way that it really manifests is investable agent companies, right? So the phrasing I have is agents are the new companies, right? So if agents are the new companies, like if you think about it, like people say, I say sometimes like agents will hold trillions of dollars. Illia also was alluding to that earlier. Agents will have tens of trillions of dollars in like 20 years, right? It seems ridiculous. But companies have tens of trillions of dollars. They're just like fictional entities that are bound together by legal constraints. And agents are, if you had this boundary of ownership inside which you can actually accrue value and governance and economic rights, and it's digital and digital native, like it's not inconceivable that these entities can actually build and grow. So absolutely, the investable version is probably what is going to actually like build and grow, not the self-sovereign version. Although, like to what extent is there'll be all kinds of trade-offs on, like for example, Zuck has like 10x voting rights on Meta. So Zuckerberg almost unilaterally controls Meta. We all hold shares in it, right? It's publicly traded, $500 billion, or $1 trillion, I don't know. But the point is, there basically like everybody's buying shares into this entity which is controlled by the sovereign agent, which is Zuck. And it's a similar dynamic is not unimaginable. And I think in some places, human oversight or human decision making overlaid on top of agents may be strictly worse compared to agents having well-specified constraints under which they find out what is optimal. So I think the token voting or whatever the human insight should only be in setting the constraints and guardrails, the rules under which to operate, rather than like trying to judge what actions are better. I think we'll very quickly find out that that's actually very suboptimal.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rise of agentic finance. Give a round of applause for Illia and Sreeram. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. I feel like they can talk for hours if we didn't have a timer.